Hey y'all, Data Guy here. And today I have a video for you going over kind of really the high level and low level of really everything I saw at AWS reInvent. So I was lucky enough to have my company send me out this year, and I thought it was really interesting. It was just an absolutely massive event. I know everyone always talks about AWS reInvent as like, the king of the conferences. And it really was not brought home to me until I went there and it was like 4 times bigger than the big Snowflake conference. That was already like the biggest conference I'd ever been to. So really crazy stuff. Expo Hall was like an airplane hangar. And number one, hats off to AWS for getting actual attendees to this conference. I really felt like it was a lot of people that were interested in developing. There were a lot of people that were actually hands-on keyboard coding. A lot of C-suite, but at small startups. So people you could actually that were big players at small companies. So it was really great networking opportunity, and just met a lot of really cool people. And that kind of leads me to my first point, which is that all the AI startups, it seems like finally, the ones that are just bringing ChatGPT to Snowflake or ChatGPT to X service have kind of been washed out. And now it is really what I see as real AI and ML companies like V8, like Pinecone. I mean, just going through this kind of list of all these different sponsors on the AWS website. If you go through, I'm not going to go line by line because that'd just be incredibly boring. But a lot of these are AI providers that are providing things like vector databases, like scalable compute, like query engines, like OpenSearch. I know I got to talk to them. OpenSearch is funded by Amazon, which I actually didn't realize until now. So it's really interesting to kind of talk to them, understand how Amazon's kind of pushing the development of that forward, and also just some other potential use cases of how it can integrate with other systems. Here just open source platform, which just interesting to see more of kind of this side of things of people building actual solutions that are more toolkits and hey, how do I use AI in new and innovative ways rather than how do I just port an API endpoint from OpenAI into an existing product and then go raise $10 million in venture funding for that. So that was a really cool thing to see, especially for someone that's, I see a lot of kind of the buzzwords about AI all the time. So I like talking to people that are actually in deep with that and are developing real solutions that are going to be useful rather than just something to attract some funding and then die out in a couple of years. However, chatbots were not completely absent from the conference. Big thing that Amazon is trying to push now is Amazon Q, which is just another Gen AI personal assistant that is tailored to your business. So I think the idea here is that it can take data that is kept within Amazon by your company and then generate answers based on it. So here you can see you have a queue based on Amazon, a queue based on Amazon QuickSight, Connect, Amazon Supply Chain. And that's another thing. Amazon has a lot of new updates to the Amazon Supply Chain, which makes sense, as kind of supply chains are really complicated. And so here you can kind of look through it yourself, but this will be able to, over time, understand your code. I mean, GitHub has something like this. A lot of different companies have something like this where it's, generative AI that trains on your existing information. The issue with these is that it's interesting with AI chatbots, they actually get worse with the more additional context they're given to solve a problem, unless you actually have enough to give enough to train an LLM, which most businesses aren't going to have enough of their own code to actually have enough data to train an LLM. So I'm not really sure how useful this will be in practice, but it is, just a cool new thing that, maybe it'll work, maybe it'll not. Amazon can keep taking all these swings and eventually they'll get one right? Kind of in tandem with that, another AI tool, ML tool that Amazon is really starting to push again is SageMaker. So now there's a new SageMaker Studio, which isn't really as janky as like the old way where you had a SageMaker Jupyter notebook. I still don't really love SageMaker. I think it's just a really clunky tool to use. The way you have to like manage all of your different, your models, your experiments, it just doesn't really fit well because I don't know. I've not had a lot of experience because you almost need to manage it externally, but managing it from external sources is so painful because you have to pass like job configuration, you have to pass the exact configuration or cluster, the exact model. And these strings are like dozens of characters long. It's just really, really irritating. So I'm not super sold on this. But if you like SageMaker, if you've been waiting for Amazon to come up with some new updates, then you're probably going to be really excited about all this because they have updated SageMaker pretty considerably. I just personally don't really love SageMaker, so I probably won't be taking advantage. One thing that is I do find really cool though is the new S3 Express One Zone high performance storage class. And this is really great for if you need to have an S3 bucket that has, hundreds of interactions per second, hundreds of thousands per second with really low latency. And so this can be really useful for AI and ML applications where you need to get data really quickly, really fast, and you also need lots of it. And so I think this is going to be really great because S3 is great at storing kind of unstructured data as you're ingesting it before you use it in an AI application. And this is going to be really good for that, as well as maybe some streaming applications where now you can support the really, really fast ingress IO operations that are necessary for streaming because, as we all know, streaming is just really, really fast batching at the end of the day. And another really big ML AI announcement, and you might be detecting a theme here. A reInvent this year was all about AI and ML. We had NVIDIA, which actually announced that AWS is going to have the first access to their new GH200 GPUs, which are the best for AI and ML operations, cutting edge, super, super fast. So they're able to process, AI workloads at scale. So if you are on the cutting edge of AI workloads, you probably know how hard it is to get GPUs right now. So now you know that Amazon is going to have the best of them, the first out of any of the cloud providers, before you can even buy them on the open market. So really, really cool there for anyone that's developing, AI, LLM operations on top of AWS compute, because now you're going to have this option in your toolkit. And one other non-AI or ML related feature that I just thought was really cool is that now you can store your CloudFormation templates in a remote Git repository. And this is just really nice because now instead of having to kind of manage them separately, you can use your CloudFormation to deploy whatever deployments you need to run your workflows and then get to actually deploy the code onto those VMs or whatever. So just nice way to have it all integrated into one workflow rather than having it fragmented, because fragmented workflows are the death of a quick time to resolution. And back to the AI and ML work news here. So you also have Amazon entering the arena with their own image generator. So they're calling it Titan. And you can see, Python based. You can see I can, run a Bluetooth 3 client into Amazon Bedrock. So another update, I guess I'll go over next is Amazon Bedrock got a lot of updates. And that's kind of Amazon's production grade ML platform. And so here you can see, taking a JSON of a green iguana and then generating an image of a green iguana. So see here, parsing, decoding, and then creating an image of a green iguana. So pretty useful here. I don't know how much this is better than something like ChatGPT, but I guess having it within Amazon is good too. I don't know how many generative AI image generators we need out there, but it's I guess always nice to have yet another one. And then you also have the corresponding Amazon Titan text, which is similarly you can ingest text and then summarize it. You can query that text, all that kinds of stuff. So just again, kind of more like a ChatGPT, similar, but primarily just managed through API endpoints rather than you going in interface and kind of interacting with like a traditional chatbot. And so what's powering this under the hood is actually Amazon Bedrock. So Amazon Bedrock also got a lot of updates where now have access to those faster chips from NVIDIA. And so basically what Amazon Bedrock is how OpenAI has kind of an API endpoint for, integrating their generative AI capabilities in your business. Amazon has one as well. Amazon Bedrock, where you have similar features via an API endpoints. You can, do retrieval augmented generation, fine tuning, build agents, install serverless, so you don't have to manage the infrastructure. Again, just very similar to how OpenAI does it, but in this case, it's just run by Amazon. You can kind of go through here if you want to learn more about that. And now, finally, the last announcement that I thought was pretty cool, which is the new Amazon Thin Client. And you might be wondering, what the hell does that mean? And so what it is, it's basically kind of like a cloud computer. So just, how your Fire Stick, plug in, you have access to kind of a light computer. That is what essentially the Amazon Thin Client is. And so what this is instead of, you having to have a hard drive, have compute power available on a local machine, it all is streamed in through a Amazon Thin Client. So you can leverage, AWS in the backend for your compute. You have a, traditional user interface where you have a virtual desktop environment. You can use Amazon Workspace if you want to go really deep into that. So this makes it a lot easier for, especially if you're a company that already makes heavy use of virtual desktops for security or compliance. this is just an extension of that, or it's a way for you to easily, spin up many new desks, cheaper to onboard new developers. You don't have to buy them laptops. You can just buy them an AWS thin client, and then they can only access their work in that virtual desktop. So no worrying about slacking off, right? And since it's Amazon, you can track it all via CloudWatch. So yeah, we're really in late stage capitalism here, folks. But this, all jokes aside, this is a really cool product. I think hardware gets a bad knock these days, but I think this could be really useful. And so I'm excited to see if it actually proves to be useful and effective as a, kind of personal computer, or if it's just complete garbage and just no one is going to get zero adoption. Anyways, that is kind of all the big announcements that I felt were fit to write about from the AWS conference. There weren't a ton of other companies making big announcements there. There were a lot of companies, giving talks about how they're using AI, how their companies are. But I just kind of want to focus on the big high-level hits from AWS. But if you'd like to see more about some of the companies I talked to, please let me know in the comments, and I will make that video. But above all else, have a good one. Data Guy out.